Same goals, same failures, same you. The identity trap that's keeping you stuck. We're into the year and you may look back on your New Year's goals, or maybe it's the same goals that you had last year that you still haven't achieved. Maybe it's in your personal health, in your business, in your personal life, in your aspirations. So in this video, I really want to talk about what is keeping you stuck, because we always look at the how-to, the strategies, the steps, what we need to do, the behaviors and the actions that we need to take. But there's something even more kind of high level than that. And it is a shift in your identity, which is absolutely required in order for you to reach your goals and get to wherever you want to get to. So right now, you have two identities. The current identity or the present identity that you would relate to and that you know very well is, if I was to ask you, how do you see yourself? How would you describe yourself? And for most people, we would describe what we do for work, where do we live, what do we enjoy, who is in our family, what's our background, etc. Okay? And so the present you is the one that you would see in your mind all the time. The second identity is what you desire. So wherever you would love to see yourself in any of your goals, that creates a second identity. Again, so going back to your New Year's goals, or even if you see your daily frustrations that you want to be different in your relationship, maybe in your financial situation, maybe you dream of doing something bigger, maybe you see someone out there doing something and you think, oh, I would love to do that, right? From your desires begins a second identity. Now, what I mean by that is that if you want to achieve your goals, whatever it is, you need to shift your identity from the present day one, from that first identity, and claim your second identity. Because if you can't see it kind of in your mind's eye, doing the things that you wrote down as a goal to do and that you want to do, that you desire to do, if you can't see yourself doing that, if you can't see yourself being that person, you will not create and achieve that goal, okay? You have to be able to see it in your mind's eye. You have to be able to see yourself doing whatever it is that person is doing that maybe you looked at and think, I would love to do that. You would have to be able to see yourself doing that in order for you to do it. So it's not about how do you do it. It's about creating that identity shift to see yourself doing it and to really be immersed in that second identity. And the how-to comes after that. So the first identity and the second are in conflict. So the first identity, the one that is the present day moment, you may have been living in that identity for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Okay? So that is like solid identity. It feels unbreakable. It feels like that's who you are. If that was me, that would be, that's Vesna, that's what she can do, that's what she's capable of because of my identity over the past, 40 years. Whereas the second identity is fresh, it's new, it's where we desire to be. So we have to look at, they're in total conflict, right? So where do you spend your time? Is it in your first identity or your second? Where is the mental space? What language do you use day to day to show where you're headed versus where you've come from, right? We always want to speak to where we want to head to. Where do you focus? Where is your intention? How often do you focus on your intention to shift in that identity, to really claim a much more powerful version of yourself? So I'm going to kind of talk about this in relation to health and even life goals, right? So when I see clients who have been stuck in a chronic health situation, they really identify with it. So I've seen people in chronic fatigue who their whole life is based around it, right? They talk about it. They control their environment to a crazy amount of degrees, like sleeping in the car to avoid the refrigerator emitting something, right? I've heard some crazy things over the years. And so they do a lot of things in order to manage it, so they really identify with their illness and with where they're at, right? So if I'm putting all my energy and my focus and my mental space and my language into managing my current environment, guess where I'm going to be in 12 months or in 12 years? I'm going to be in the same environment, right? I'm going to be in the same situation. I'm going to be in exactly the same position, right? So I also see this with people with other health goals or even weight. They get stuck in their weight, right? So they tell fat jokes about themselves. They're always seeing themselves the same. They identify themselves as somebody who's lazy, who doesn't have discipline, who can't follow through. Okay, so that becomes their identity. That's the person that they see in their mind's eye. So in order to shift those habits and behaviors that control our health as well, we really need to identify with that second person, the person that we desire to become based on what we want to resolve or what we want to create. So if I want to create a healthy body, I have to, in my mind's eye, see myself as a healthy person. I have to claim that. I have to claim it right now, even if I'm not healthy, okay? And when you make that claim, you also make the claim or reclaim your ability to follow through, your ability to take action and to, always stay focused on your goal. So you have to see yourself as that person. I really hope this is making sense. So this is before you even take any action. There has to be a visual image of yourself in your mind of being that second identity, being the person that you really want to be. Because I can guarantee you, your desires, your dreams, the things that you want are available to you. And some would say they're available to you right now and that it already exists in another dimension of some kind, okay? If we talk about quantum physics, they would say that identity of you, that result that you want is already exists for you today. So maybe it's not your health. Maybe you're stuck in the same job. Maybe you want to change a career, start a business, write a book, travel, get into a relationship, whatever it is. But there is a version of you that's stuck in this first identity that carries that into your interactions at work, that carries that into a dating environment and into your relationships. And it kind of spreads out through all areas of our life. So in order to change that, we need to change that identity. We need to be reminding ourselves of where we want to step into. We want to be focused on that. We want to see it, right? Even if we have to visualize it intentionally for ourselves every morning, we want to see it and we want to be careful of our thoughts and the language that we use. Okay, sometimes it's not that easy to catch our thinking, but it certainly is to catch your language, right? Because I believe language is one of the most powerful things of how we create our life, okay? And so if you see yourself putting yourself down or the language that you use is still stuck in this current identity, you're going to be unable to shift in that new one. So when it comes to healing that you create or don't create, it really depends on who you think you are. If you think you are powerless or victimized or this small little ego in a body running around, okay, you're not going to get very far. But if you want to reclaim that powerful, stronger, disciplined, healthy, vital version of yourself that has the confidence to follow through on whatever you decide, then that's what you have to claim now. So there are things that happen in our life with past trauma or things as they come up, which absolutely need to be addressed, right? But you don't want to claim that identity. So for example, people who have been sexually abused, people who have been the child of a bad divorce, people who are widows, whatever it is, I don't want to minimize these things, but there comes a point where you want to reclaim a much more powerful version of yourself that is not stuck in that identity. And I can guarantee you, if you're listening to this, that is already what you crave, okay? So as the year is we're going through the year and it's going to go fast, I want you to think about what you set your intention of, maybe at the beginning of the year, maybe it was an intention last year. Look at where there needs to be an identity shift. Who is the person that needs to execute on those goals? What does that look like? What are they doing every day, right? Really visualize that person as you. That is your second identity that is already there waiting for you. So I'd love to hear, if you see the comment box below, leave me a comment. What were your goals and who do you have to become? Like, what do you see yourself having to be in that second identity in order to achieve that goal?